I've been saying for decades, I'm sure, that what if I could have one wish for our schools and our young people, it would be that the average kid would get to know the names of their neighbors of other species. We all have other species living, breathing the same air on the same land right around us. We walk by and too often ignore them and don't even know what their names are. And if you don't know what their names are, then you haven't got a hope of paying attention and protecting them and understanding biodiversity and what's happening to it. I wouldn't mind just putting it down to nature education in the broadest sense, and that can go all the way through to climate change and right down to identifying the snails in your backyard, which probably relate to climate change, and learning about them and learning to love them. It's a challenge for kids in urban settings to fall in love with nature, but it isn't really that as great a challenge as it is to buck the current, I guess, cool culture. So you really can't name me a city that doesn't have nature, even in a vacant lot or an alleyway with some nature growing up and migrating birds pass through. That's no excuse, being in a city. You can have nature classes and fall in love with nature in a city, maybe even all the more. The big problem is this cool culture that is making people with sort of 3-second attention spans. It has to have a lot of buzzes and whistles and bells and preferably sex and violence and shopping, and that is permeating young people's brains, and that is a big danger. And we're teaching all the wrong messages. We seem to be saying to people through our culture, you can achieve salvation through shopping or salvation through selfishness. And I do know that people who are completely, not even completely, who are even partially into nature, have an uplifting, their souls and their spirits are uplifted by being with and around nature, even more than they would be by a football game. And so it's up to the schools to, I think, buck the trends that are negative trends in society. Because television's not going to do it, because television's there to deliver eyes or deliver customers to commercial products. That's the purpose of television. And so it has to be the schools. And that's, you know, I wish it was happening in the family. I wish it was happening on TV, but it isn't. Well, if I could snap my fingers and have this effort bear a huge amount of fruit, we would see a total transformation of Canada. I mean, no less than that. A transformation of people's lives. Now I'm talking utopia, I think, and the absolutely best scenario. And I'm the first to admit that my piece of moving toward it is just a teeny little sliver. It's going to take a critical mass, but to get kids in the out of doors, and they're going to grow up and become parents, adults and parents, get them taking their families out of doors, spending much more time out with nature and paying attention to nature. And the bottom line for me is, nowadays, the way the world is going, voting for the right politicians who raise nature and the environment as part of their political platform and putting them in power so that we can get the right budgets instead of the other way around, with outdoor education being canceled and eliminated. That's been going on for years. And money put back into the parks, into the park naturalist programs and so on. This won't happen without a critical mass of the populace behind it. And I'm starting right down at the roots of the grass and hope that eventually it'll grow like tall prairie grass and bear fruit. But I'm just doing my end of it, and I hope others pick up the ball, and others are picking up the ball.